Olodo. That is the name they used to call children that were presumed to be dumb and unintelligent when I was in primary school. In fact, when I was in primary school, they would even bring them out to the front of the assembly, sing for them, make mockery of them, laugh at them. It was so horrible. So if you've ever been called such, or you know a child that they are 20 in the class and the child is always getting from 15th position to 20th position, then this video is for you. Unfortunately, a lot of us growing up have been done a great disservice by just grouping all children together and saying some particular children are intelligent and some particular children are dumb. Hopefully, this video can show you that every child can learn in some way or the other. Stick around to find out. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share this video with everyone you know. Thank you. Hi everyone, welcome back to Let's Talk Education with me, your host, Princess. Today we're going to talk about something that is rarely addressed in the Nigerian education system and maybe a lot of other places in Africa, and that is, are children really dumb? Let's get into it. So I have worked in a lot of schools, and I noticed even growing up, we are used to hearing some children being called unintelligent. This person is always taking last position, or some children, it just seems like that is where they are supposed to be, and you just hardly see them doing more than, you be 20 in the class and they can never do more than 15th position. So why is this so? Okay, first of all, I want us to know that there are medical conditions, and those are the few exceptions I'm going to give in this video. There are medical conditions that can make a child unable to learn. Now, that child has a learning disability, right? A medically explainable reason why that child cannot learn like other children. Also, on the flip side, there are also other children, because of a medical condition, they are able to learn faster than other children. So these are specially gifted children, and those children usually have focus areas like math, science, music. Their brain functions at a demigod level, and that is because of the way they were born. So there's no need to struggle with people like that. They are extremely gifted and they were born that way. So now that we have eliminated medical conditions making children unable to learn or able to learn more than other children, which is a very small fraction, let's go to the vast majority of children. Can every child learn? And my answer is, of course, with the exception I made of medical condition making them unable to learn, yes, every child can learn. So what is the problem? Children learn in different ways. Unfortunately for you, if you were, born in maybe a country like this, or you attended a school where they don't really do differentiated learning and differentiated examining, that is, knowing how every child learns and teaching them in the way that they can learn, you would have received the short end of the stick, because they would just conclude that this child is an olodo, like we call them in Nigeria. This child is not intelligent. But that is not the case. Now, I started to look into this more in my third or fourth place of employment, right? It was a primary school only and a British-Nigerian school. So it ran a British-Nigerian curriculum. Unfortunately, that school doesn't exist anymore. After COVID, the school was swallowed up. A lot of schools were swallowed up during COVID, so my condolences. But I worked there, and then there was this boy. He was the nephew of a very popular Nigerian musician. And I noticed that when I would write notes on the board, and I would say, let's read, he wouldn't even look at the board. He would just say, I can't read it. And teachers, please, we need to be very careful about the way we talk to children. Parents, the same, because they store those things in their brain. I realized that the boy had so much fear for anything written without even, I'll be like, you haven't even looked at it. How do you know you can't read it? He would refuse to even just lift up his eyes to look at it. He has concluded that he cannot read it. Until one day I gave them an assignment to memorize something, and I said, I'm going to make it a video instead of written text to go home and memorize. So I gave them videos to go home. Everybody was supposed to represent a historical, heroic figure. And I gave him King Jaja of Opobo. And I gave him a short video. I said, memorize it. By the next day, without exaggeration, this is a person who used to be the worst in the class, right? According to the information I got when I first started working here. Okay, this boy is at the bottom of the class and everything. He was the only one that had memorized everything word for word. That was when I knew, okay, I must be onto something here. So he can learn. He just cannot learn in the way the other children are learning. So it would be unfair to try to measure him the way I measure other children, because that is not his strong point, but he does have his strong point. So what are the different types of learners that we have, and how can you identify them? How can you help them? First of all, we have the visual learners. Those people love to see pictures. Just give them pictures. They have photographic memories. They will see the board in their exam. They will see their notes in their exam. They will see the diagram. Once they see it with the eyes, those kind of people, you always have to remind them to write. Write. You are not writing. They are not writing because they are painting pictures in their head. They are lost. They are imagining. I have a student like that. If you're reading a paragraph or reading a story to her, you've got to the third paragraph, she will draw you back to the first paragraph and say, oh, this thing they said here, does it mean that? Because while you were drifting along, she was painting pictures in her mind. That is a visual learner. So if you notice that your child loves books that have pictures, colors, things like that, your child just likes to carry a book and go and sit down in one place and just be thinking and meditating and just taking everything in, and can come back and tell you everything as it is, that child is a visual learner. How do you help a visual learner? Get them books. Those children don't want to hear any sound. And if you notice that you have a child like that, they just likes to pick a book and go to a corner, that's a visual learner. Just get them books. Bless that child with a library. You have nothing to worry about. Everything that they see, they will replicate it. All right, the second type of learners that we have are auditory learners. Just like the name suggests, these children like to hear. Now, these children love to read out. And teachers, that's something we need to learn. Even myself, when I started teaching, I had to remind myself to stop telling students, don't read out, you're disturbing other children. Because even though some other children do not like to, for me, I don't want to hear a sound. I'm also a visual learner. I don't want to hear a sound. I just want to see the pictures and allow my brain to just capture everything I'm reading. But these people have to read out because they have to hear a voice, even if it is their own voice. So sometimes don't shush that child and say, read in your mind. They can't. They have to hear something. How do you spot auditory learners? If you have children that their ears, anything you say, you might say something once and they will grab it and keep repeating it, that's an auditory learner. If they like to ask or answer questions, that's an auditory learner. I remember one time I was in, I think Ghana. No, it was Nigeria. We had an event, and I was with a friend of mine, Titi, and we were in the bathroom. Was it Titi or Jumoke? One of the two. We were in the bathroom, and I said, I can't remember, some big word I said, and this girl was washing her hands. She must have been about 8 years old, and she looked at me and said, what's the meaning of blah, 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 blah? And then I told her, and I said, can you use this in a sentence? And she did. That's a child that learns by ear. Nothing passes that child by. So if you notice, your child can repeat everything that they hear. They love to narrate. They love to talk. They love to read aloud. That child is an auditory learner. What's the best thing you can do for that child? Get them tapes, educational tapes. Let them watch videos that are educating. That is what they need. I would advise, though, that make sure the things that you're buying are not strictly video and audio. Let them also have transcription, because whether we like it or not, they will still be examined in writing. So let them have at least be seeing text, so their spelling is up to par, because some children can really speak well but cannot put it down on paper. Here's another way to help with these children, because sometimes if you notice, some of your children will, when you ask them a question to answer verbally, they will answer for like 5 minutes. They keep talking. Just give them a book and say, write that answer. They write 2 lines. I have a student like that. So what you're going to do is let them answer verbally. As they are talking, be recording them. And when you're done, give them their recording to transcribe. Let them learn to transcribe their own voices. First of all, let them express themselves and answer how they are comfortable. That's verbally. Then let them take that recording and transcribe it. Then they will learn to convert the voices in their head to writing, because if they're going to pass exams, they have to write. So try that and let me know how it works out for you. Now, the third type of learner is a kinesthetic learner. These people learn by moving. Even if it's pacing. Have you heard or do you know people who walk and read? Okay, so photosynthesis is something that child is a kinesthetic learner. Now, how do you help children like that? If they have a lesson teacher, please tell them, or even the class teacher, stop telling my child, stay one place, sit down. That child will not learn. I had a student like that. If you sit her down for 15 minutes, you've lost her. 15 minutes is too much of a time. Even in the university, you see some people in the library, they have to stand up every 15 minutes to take a break because they can't sit down for an extended period of time to read. They have to pace. That's why some people read in the library, some people read in the love garden when you get to university, because they need to walk around. They need to pace. They need to talk. These are kinesthetic learners. As the body is moving, the brain is working. These children excel. If you notice your child excels in sports, music, practicals, design and technology, that child might be or is a kinesthetic learner. How do you help children like that? Puzzles. Get puzzles for math. Get puzzles for maps. Get puzzles for science. Get puzzles for topic. Get puzzles for every subject that you know. Get puzzles. Get games. Get toys that you have to build something. You have to make something. They love it. Anything they can do with their hands, they love it. Don't just tell them, sit down and receive information. No. As they are watching it, they want to be building it the same way the person in the TV is building it. Get them things that can reinforce, things that can make them move. And remember to tell their lesson teachers or tell their teachers to stop making them, stay still. If the teachers feel they will distract other students, fine, let them sit at the back of the class, but let them stand when they have to stand. Let them walk to the front and walk back whenever they have to, because the more they move, the more their brain works. Now, the last, definitely not the least, but the most privileged type of learner is the reading, writing kind of learner. Now, this learner just learns by reading and writing. The teacher does not even have to show up to the class, just send the notes. They will read it and they will replicate it for you in the exam. They call these people la crème la peau. They can just read, replicate everything that they have read in writing. So you don't have problem with this type of children. The only thing that you need to do, children like this, is you have to ensure that they are writing their notes. Because if they don't have anything, they cannot just sit down and listen to something. They have to actually have their notes. No matter how many times you explain to them, they have to have their notes. And I'm a person like that. You can tell me everything from now till tomorrow. I have to have notes. If I don't have notes, I don't feel safe. So make sure they are writing their notes, because if they have their notes and they have something to read, they definitely write exactly how they have learned it. So I hope this video has really helped you. If you've noticed something about your child that's in line with something I have said, do let me know. If you have questions, do let me know. Drop it in the comment section below and I'll get back to you. Remember, every child can learn. They just learn differently. So like this video, comment, subscribe, and share with everyone that you think might be interested. Until next time, bye.